but if you get in your opponent's head, they're screwed.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a wild ride so far for Trick, and we're going to see if we can take it down the road just a little bit further, if they can upset against OpTic, taking them out 2-0. Let's find out as the pistol round has begun in a 1-for-1 exchange. Testis will continue to push forward inside of the jungle, picks up the next frag on Bubsky. He's got Acor sitting behind the line, tries to find a trade, but no. Config gets the better of him. Hunden with an aggressive push, nearly kills the planter, but it was not meant to be. OpTic have brought it all down the dish, and he's going to get knocked out quickly by MSL too. OpTic take control of the opening round.
Yeah, a good pistol from them, a very aggressive one, sort of the same sort of stuff we were seeing from their opponent. And yeah, just hitting their shots. Testis, Config doing the work, and well, this is the map where, well, this is the map where we've seen them get their victories. Like, they haven't played anything else. So seeing them lose Train is not really a big surprise, because at the moment it seems like they've really been trying to fit Testis into this roster and maybe give him like more basic maps to play. And this is definitely one of them. Like, I feel like this is a map where even if you're like relatively new to like competitive Counter-Strike, but you've played a lot, like even with your friends, you pretty much know every angle, every position on this map. Like even like if you're a semi-pro, I feel like you could slot into a game with most teams and just be like, okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're doing this. You're playing this spot, and you go, okay, I know that there's angles for me here, 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 and here. Whereas on other maps, you might have some more problems or be caught out a little bit more. So this should be more favored in terms of OpTic.
OpTic in this round obviously shouldn't have too tough of a time, but they're still going to be taking things a little bit more slowly. There's zero investment from Tricked. I think they saw one flashbang bought up by Hunden, and that's the only dollar investment we get at all, really, from the Tricked roster on this one. However, OpTic are going to walk into the stack. So we'll see. Tricked have already won one round this tournament on just USPs, but this one might be asking a little bit too much. A few kills, though, is not out of the question. Bubsky and Acor able to put two together between themselves, and Hunden left alive again at the end of it, and MSL to clean up most of it as he ends up with a 4K on the round. That
one kill could play a big part. Acor got exactly 4,750 because of that kill. So if he wants a glass cannon AWP, he can. At the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be overly surprised if he didn't. Like, I think going into a map like Mirage, the AUG is still going to be very effective with taking that middle control. And it's actually Bubsky. That's interesting.
No armor behind it still as well, so it's going to be a very, very light buy into it, behind it. Depending on where we see Bubsky play, this could have a lot of effect. And he's going to take it towards the B apartments. So basically solo holding those apartments. He's got support from Acor if the need should arise back towards Cat. It's actually not a bad spot to play because there's a lot of angles he can hold and kind of use the walls as his own armor. See Hunden trying to line up a duel. It's actually Borup that helps out though. But the problem is this jump on the stairs seems to have caught them off guard a little bit. And Config's going to be able to get a free pick on Hunden as a result.
Yeah, Config, definitely the surprise factor in the previous map. He was the man who made pretty much every single play. All the success that came seemed to be from his corner. MSL with a few attempted clutches, but ultimately nothing too impressive. But just look at Nico. Like, he is the man who has pretty much won them this round. He has taken so much control. It seems like they might be aware that they've lost a lot of control around this side of the map. I'm actually interested to see where Shush is watching. But no, they're actually going to go rotating back, and I think this is the point where they realize things are over. But now MSL looks to try and wipe down some of those extra players, remove some economy from the side of Tricked. He's successful at least for one. They shouldn't be going anything or for anything here, though.
Op is still recoverable, though. That should be the thing, I believe, right over here by the murder hole, if Acor wants to go for it. Acor is, of course, very scared of either Nico or someone else from OpTic still hiding just around the corner, though, as I don't know if Nico realized what he dropped or just doesn't care for it either way. We're going to see Tricked have to pull away from this one. The round is going to go still into OpTic's court here, as they continue to push ahead 3-0 over Tricked.
Yeah, the murder hole is one of those things where if you ever say, like, I'm going to push through the murder hole, it's like saying, I'm going to eat myself the death sandwich.
I'm going to maybe die.
It's like, I'm going to stand next to the void that destroys all. Like, it's not really something you want to be doing. The clues in the name, like, you know, ghost peppers, like, you know that they're bad because, well, the name doesn't exactly sound like something friendly and fluffy, does it? So, yeah, just going to be playing things relatively safe, and in terms of a buy into this round, it will be dicey if they go for anything. I think it's probably just going to be a few pistols.
Well, regardless, I think we end up at a small pause for one of the two teams. So we're going to take a second to figure something out, as it is actually a technical pause, so excuse us for that, guys, while we quickly look to fix the issue and get ourselves back into the game. OpTic, though, a strong start at 3-0. Not a whole lot of contention coming in so far for Trick, but to be fair, they haven't really had that many opportunities to do so. So over the next few rounds, we'll start to see those fuller investments, and then we can start to judge Trick a little bit more if they still are messing up, and we're seeing OpTic cut ahead off that.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where I want to see if Trick are able to isolate Tessez as well as we saw in their first match on this map. Because that was one of the things that Chaos actually did fairly well, where they were very aggressive towards B initially, and it was actually more of the puggy plays that seemed to catch OpTic off guard. Because, like, I haven't seen too many players on their team able to get ridiculous multi-frags from a lot of the positions they've had, and they do have to obviously take some gambles. Like, mid control was something that they were pretty poor in holding, at least in the first match, because it just didn't seem like MSL was able to really compete in middle. Then you see the adaptation they have is he actually plays more so towards the B side or actually in around the jungle area, so that when they're crossing, he can actually do a lot of the damage, and that's where at least some of the success came. So there's definitely weaknesses within this OpTic side, and I think on Train at least it seemed like Tricked were very good at isolating them and actually just, okay, we'll play together. They're not going to just be able to spray us down. Let's just trade effectively and we will win these rounds. So if they can do something similar on Mirage, which again, like strategy-wise, the glass is fairly empty. Like, I don't think I've seen anything new in a long, long time. Like, maybe the like ridiculous Carrigan smoke we once saw, like, that was one of the things, like, from the other side of the map that he managed to pull off. Other than that, like, it's just sort of rehashing different smokes that we've seen and maybe going back to old strategies. One of the things I actually like seeing was, I can't remember who was doing it, but they used, I think it was Taz's team maybe, using the old wall of smokes. Like, where you just literally had a straight wall across from the stairs, rather than going for the classic, which has one around jungle and the stairs. And like, the ones we see every single time, the ones that your matchmaking team will know. It's one of those things where you sort of say, maybe going back to some of the old stuff will actually be more of a surprise. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, is this new? It's like, no, it's not new. It's old. But it's new because it's old.
It's new because it hasn't been used in like 2 years or so, or something like that. So either way, OpTic, a strong control of the lead for them, but we need to see if they're going to be able to keep it going. We do apologize for this little bit of delay, folks, but we are going to have to head to a short break while we work on fixing the in-game issues. As soon as we fix them, though, we're going to be coming right back at you with more action here between Tricked and OpTic at the semifinals of the DreamHack Open Summer.
And we are back. Apologies for the technical delays. I think they have now all been sorted out, so not to worry about that anymore. And well, 3-0 for anybody who wasn't here in favor of OpTic. So looking to try and return after what was a tough match on Train for them. It really didn't look good at all.
Solid start here so far on Mirage, though. 3 rounds won with relatively little contention coming in from Tricked. It's probably going to remain the case, at least for this round. We have 2 saves coming off of the last round, which was the first real gun round for Tricked, and we're going to see if they can find any impact with it at all. This is going to be fun. The 2 players stacked at underpass. Config, whether he knows it or not, it's going to walk right into him. Seems he knows it, though. The quick double. Acor will find a response, but it's only a small gesture compared to what Config found closer to middle.
Yeah, already off to a good start. Okay. Acor's straight through smoke. He's a deleted smoke.jpg, doesn't see it at all, and just manages to get himself that pick back. The problem is Barup alone. The man still holding a Deeg, and it's going to start being damaged down. The push is coming in the meantime from Bubsky, though. He's around the corner, drops the bomb as well, spots or looks for the second, but there's the flank, and that flank could be enough to turn the round. In fact, the slight hesitation is enough for Nico to get the kill. Still, though, 2 save weapons, 3 kills. That ain't bad.
Scary for a moment there for OpTic. Thankfully, Acor was never really able to get into a good position on site, and he was definitely the player that was kind of single-handedly turning a lot of this around for Tricked in it. As we saw Config, though, get things started, had a really great pickup, and then found his 3rd kill against Acor right there later on in the kitchen. So OpTic at 4-0. But of course, that was a round where Tricked barely had an investment to begin with. It's now going to come back on Tricked again as they get the full buy going, but wow, Mora going to be absolutely destroyed at the beginning of this round by something, down to 2 HP.
Yeah, strong start for the T's, and Oh, it seems like both teams, like their battle for middle has been a struggle on the CT side. It seems like the Ts have had it pretty much dead to rights the majority of times we've seen them play. Hunden manages to get away with that, and actually Bubsky finds another in the hands of Nico.
So, quite a few kills that Trick, to be honest, have no business getting against OpTic here. Has put them ahead, although just barely when you look at the HPs of both Hunden and Borup. Config, MSL, and Refresh pausing for a moment here, as it does look like they are going to try to work their way up the A ramp and have Config work his way in through connector. Bubsky still waits in mid, though, and he could get a battle versus Config. I don't know if he knows he's here, though. Config can get a free right to a kill on Bubsky, and there you go. Starts to turn this back around as the Execute's going to work its way into the site, and MSL finds a good pick against Shush in the process. Oh! And Borup immediately caught as soon as he peeks up from Firebox.
A massive turnaround, and they've still got one low player to go. Acor at the back of the site, though, could be enough to hold on to this for Tricked. Hunden looking for the cross, yet to be found. They don't have any utility to really section off any of these angles. There's no actual safe plant for them to go for, and Hunden's waiting for MSL. It's now left all onto Config. He's got a kill in this round. He's watching to try and find Hunden, but there's little to no time left. 10 seconds, spots out, gets the kill, has to go for the plant here. The time is ticking away, but he's going to fake it. He wants to try and get the kill, but Acor just waiting patiently, and he takes the fight. But Acor wins it anyway. The CTs, they get their first round on the board, but only just.
Acor continuing to impress. Last round nearly turned it around for his team to pick up an early victory on a round that they had no business winning. But this time on the gun round, he does it for real. And in the clutch as well, the final 1v1 that he closes out finally puts Tricked onto the board in this map at 4-1. Now they're going to look to improve on that one. OpTic are immediately going to use their first pause, however, after this initial loss.
Yeah, I think they know that they can't afford to let this go anywhere near the last map, especially like taking into account the teams they'll be facing off against if they do get to the final. Ancient with the home crowd advantage, and who had just a fantastic comeback yesterday, and then Aristocracy, who've had the day break just as well as OpTic have, but in the matches they played, they decimated Tricked and had a good win versus Avangard as well. So there's no easy grand final for whichever team makes it.
That's what's so cool about this event, though, is we don't know what teams are going to be in the grand final yet.
Yeah.
It's incredibly unpredictable, this semifinal bracket. It's going to make for a really exciting day as we get through the rest of it here. Don't even know who's going to win this one, of course. Acor, a good starting stop, especially after the two players down below had been flashed out. Config, along with Nico, though, able to deal with those players, losing only one in the process, and MSL also picking Bubsky, but the kills just keep on rolling. Acor also finds Refresh. We go into a 2v2. The T's work their way into the B site, but the bomb's still a good 10-15 seconds away from being there. So Tricked will have a little bit of time to rotate in position. The good news, though, for OpTic is that Config should be able to hear all this on Catwalk right now. He's going to be able to give a good amount of intel to his teammate. However, look at Acor. He's waiting. Config knows, though. He's heard the sound intel. It's a game of chicken. Who's going to jump out first?
Smart. MSL had a smoke. They're going to try and boost up, but by that point, Config will already be gone. It seems like both are a little bit confused, but yeah, there's nobody there anymore. Bomb going to be planted, and this is smart. They're going to put it in a position where they can hold onto the cross. Both players now going to take control of the market because they have all the information available to them. And now the short push is going to be very difficult to actually get back in.
Second smoke for Trick, though, so they can get a lot of control for relatively free here. Problem is, when they do push in, they still have to deal with the edge of these smokes and the lack of intel they have on the site. So MSL gets shushed pretty much for free, as Acor is not going to attempt to challenge that. He'll back away. OpTic will retake control of the match now at 5-1.
Yeah, and these are the two players that have been doing most of the damage so far. MSL, a very quiet game in the last, and as I sort of mentioned on the CT side, I think he missed some shots that he needed to be hitting. Like with pushes down ramp on that B site of Train, if you're not getting one as the AWPer holding connector, your player on the site's dead. So the fact that he started to step up on the T side of this map is very, very promising, because that's the harder side for the AWPer to play.
Now it's going to be a test of whether we can continue to see Trick innovate, figure out what the issues are going on here. Possibly losing too much at the beginning of these rounds. Might need to pull back the aggression a little bit. Can they correct it in time, or is OpTic going to have their own turn at running away with this map now? All right, guys, well, it's looking like we did have to go into another technical pause And I think it's a computer switch out that we have to go for. So it is going to take us a few extra minutes. We do, once again, apologize for that. But we're going to go to a very short break. Stick with us and we'll be back in just a minute. As soon as we swapped out that PC with more action between these two teams here at the DreamHack Open.
They say the third time is the charm, and hopefully that means everything will be sorted. It has been a PC change, of course, which I'll say in normal circumstances does actually fix everything most of the time. It's probably just a bit of a fault with one of the computers, so hopefully now everything will go nice and smoothly. And we were fairly early into this one, but it's probably given a bit of time at least for the guys on Trick to calm down a little bit. Maybe got a bit overexcited with how things are going so far. As 5-1 down already, 5 T rounds, and, well, I was going to say a decent economy because I thought it would be, but it really isn't. Like, the Ts haven't made much money at all.
We just got over a full gun round for Trick, though, so they're on an eco this time. Akor, of course, is able to save the op, I believe, so he's going to be able to carry that into this round. This is the opening shot in mid, however, so he's not going to be able to pick off OpTic this time. That's the problem, though, is these rounds have been so close. Trick, even on ecos, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, have been able to still pick off a large majority of OpTic's roster, at least a bar minimum, to the effect that they would not be able to build up an economy. And this means that Trick, if they win a sequence of rounds here, they could find themselves a path back into this game very, very quickly. Although I'm not sure if that's going to be coming up on this round. Bubsky is going to find himself picked off very quickly by Testis as the rest of OpTic get ready to push themselves down Cat into the B site. However, look at how quickly Trick are reacting. They're rotating in, trying to take on players like Testis, but right now, no one coming out on top of any of these duels. Just a lot of aggression, not a whole lot of good placement, unfortunately.
Well, Config's got to be careful. He does still have a player behind him. I don't think Barup got the memo, and actually Shush decides to take his positioning further into mid. The main hope here is to steal a weapon away. Winning the round is out of the question, and OpTic just going to take their time in getting the bomb down, making sure all of the angles are clear. We know there's that nice little box boost spot that can really cause trouble, and they want to make sure that there's no risks taken in this round. As mentioned, although they were winning a fair few rounds, in terms of finances, they really haven't been able to get too much on the board. So a 4-man save would be a huge benefit for the Danish side.
Well, Shush is going to try to stop that from being a possibility here. Still look to pick up 1 or 2 players with Deagles. It's just not aligning that well with the exit path from OpTic, as all players have worked their way out into the kitchen and right outside with the crawl space, where Shush might have a chance in a second, but it's not looking like anything. The murder hole is going to pop up and give him an angle, so he's just going to push it, try his best, gets close to finding Config, but he gets the better of him, gets the second kill on the round, and OpTic will push up again to 6 as a result of that. But we're kind of just in the cycle now for Trick, considering the amount of rounds they've lost. So they're going to be buying up once again here into the 8th round. That includes Oggs, 2 ops too on both Bubsky and Akor. And finally the M4 on Shush. It's just a little bit too below the money requirement for buying it on the Ogg there.
Aggression already from Shush. Well, they're expecting to be this far forward. Refresh, shoulder peeking the angles, but there's nothing he can do. The early aggression pays off. This is something we've really been positive about with Trick, just how good this is. The nade as well. MSL is left down to 40 HP. Another one falls in, and they're just losing HP without even spotting out players. Config looking to try and spray around the smoke, but to no avail. And they're continuously throwing nades in, although Testis does manage to get another opener.
Really unfortunate timing on Trick to fall back and try to rotate towards Ticket, because now they basically let OpTic walk right into the process. Hunden going to be getting back over towards the back of Ticket, though, finds Testis. They can attempt to boost back up, but they're continuing to lose more players. That's the problem. They've got to be careful with their aggression. They don't have the luxury of a man advantage so much anymore. In fact, it's been evened out, and OpTic even better. Put the bomb onto the ground, which is going to force the issue for Trick over the next few seconds.
They don't know. They don't know the Config's pushed all the way through. This is a big problem. He's going to be coming in on the flank. He is running, but by the time they realize it might be too late, spots out the second player as well. But even just his positioning is enough. Even though he goes down, it's now left onto Hunden, and I think the idea is to try to save. He knows there's a man there. He knows there's someone watching for his escape. In fact, not even going to bother saving the AWP. it may actually be pushed towards him. I think that's why he's hanging around.
It should. At a very minimum, it's going to get swiped along the wall to his right. As long as something weird happens, it'll still be in a good position for him. So we'll assume he found it. We're going to double check on that once we go back into the round. But regardless, OpTic are still continuing to dominate. This is looking pretty bad here, considering it's a CT side start for the guys on Tricked. It's actually pretty much the exact opposite issue that they were having back on Frame, where they were the ones dominating on T side. This time it's OpTic. Seem to have really read their number here, and Trick just can't even get things started.
Yeah, the odds, no surprise, swinging back, and once again, just a few pistols invested. They will have strong loss bonus going into the next round, and well, Hunden has 4,000 anyway, so he'll be able to drop an AWP if they really need somebody to do so. They won't. MSL a good start. Not going to allow the 5-7 to do anything. This is a stack of the A site, multiple players here. Also the rifle, but a double Molotov into his position. It doesn't matter what Hunden does, he's going to burn alive. He still gets the kill. That's something at least, but a double Molotov into triple. Even still though, there's damage being done. Bubsky has a small chance of maybe stealing away a kill, to get it off the timing, and oh, the rifle is there to be taken, but he won't get to keep it.
MSL immediately taking him down, secures yet another round for OpTic, as things are looking a lot better for them here on Mirage. Guys from Tricked, like I said before, really failing to get the ball running, even on gun rounds here, constantly falling short. Hello. When it comes short, when it comes to the executes here. Trick just not really able to come out on top of the trades that are going on. And unfortunately, that's keeping OpTic in these rounds, even when it seems like Tricked are going to be able to take control of it.
This time, seeing a little bit more of a challenge for mid, but even still a relatively passive one from this CT side. Acor smoked off already, and well, he's praying for a pixel, but even if he gets it, there's nobody around that area just yet. It's just the T's holding at the top of mid. Nico with his SG able to watch more simplistically into the connector, and MSL looking to try and probe on the other side of the map, but is there going to be some aggression here? Bubsky has been known for it. Nothing's really come over onto this B site. Tessas again is going to be tagged, but the T's just still look to regain that mid control.
A lot of molly work to be done here by OpTic still later on in the round. I've only got one smoke remaining, though, after that one was just thrown down. But again, a good start. However, finally the trades show up for Tricked. Borup and Shush, and now Bubsky close up in the apartments. Actually going to be able to put a pretty good stoppage on OpTic's play. Good patience from Config to wait for the peak to come out in connector from Borup. At least trades that one back. They're still down a man. Even worse, they don't really have any good map control besides mid.
This is interesting, though. There's only one man even rotating in towards the A site. They managed to take the window control. Flash going to leave Shush blind, but that is the info. But there's no rotation coming off the back of it, just in case it's a fake. Finally, we see the movement of the CT side, but a retake for them is going to be a bit more difficult. Bubsky is at least able to find himself one, and he gets himself a Molotov as well, so that will help in terms of utility. But it's left on to refresh in the clutch, and there's no heroics from him this time. 8-2, a strong hold from Tricked, and a good mid-fight. I think that's the difference. Like, we've seen them give it up fairly easily, but their sprays through the smoke connect, and that gives them the advantage, which ultimately they take to the grave.
Yeah, much more solid start for them, and able to actually get the appropriate read on OpTic this time to counter out the push. Gives them a whole lot more to play with and a whole lot more breathing room, a bit more freedom too, which I think the Trick players really thrive inside of. They seem to be falling apart when they're restricted or forced to rotate against their own will. But when they get the early kill, when they're given freedom to rotate around this map, it seems like they're able to do a whole lot more work against OpTic. We'll see if that remains the case, though. It's only 1-1 round. We can immediately see OpTic turn this course back into their favor if they can come out strong again with another good mid play.
Already, Hunden is gone. He was the only man there. All the other utility forced the other players off, and that's not the way you want to be facing into middle. It has to be more of a team effort unless it's an AWP, and even then, that style has sort of gone out of fashion unless it's a dominating AWPer. Once the utility being expended will force Config back, but ultimately doesn't quell the problem, and that's what Acor's going to look to do, but Nico just pre-fires. Finds a second opener, and while Trick's aggression that was so successful on Train seems to just be their undoing when it comes to Mirage.
Problem is on train, you can they were varying a little bit more. They weren't doing it every single round. Trickter's trying to get aggressive in the same spots relatively all the time, especially in that apartment position right there. I think that's a good reason why Acor gets red so heavily, and the pre-fire comes in from, I believe it was Nico. So OpTic kind of have Trick's number right now. Trick need to innovate a little bit more if they want to keep playing aggressively on this CT side. Otherwise, they got to pull it back because it's becoming their downfall. Here comes the execute, though, from OpTic. They're going to work their way into the site. Trick get a lot of rotates here, so the trade's actually working out, just not enough. Nico picks up a double at the end and closes it down for OpTic.
Yeah, something needs to change, and it needs to change fast for Trick if they're looking to at least close this in two. Otherwise, Nuke is the decider, and I do feel like that's a middle ground. Although I'm mainly interested to see how Tessus will be slotted in, because it's a middle ground that the CT side is so important, rotations are so important. And although like Ruger sort of admitted that when it came to the T side, he always listened and he was very good at actually fitting into the squad. CT side is tough, especially on Nuke. So it'll be important to see how that goes. And at the moment, it seems like that's where we're going. 9-2. CT side purchase is one that has some, well, lower weaponry, some weak utility, no kits. Head armor, not a problem, but it does show how little finances they have. And we're in round 12.
So, OpTic again, easy mid control. Tricked actually did pull back the aggression quite a bit this time. Not a whole lot of window play. Cats being reserved. They're trying to play this a lot more passively, and this is good because I think this is what we needed to see them do. The only question is, do they adjust this too late, and is it actually going to make a difference? Borup caught by a flash on Cat. He goes down to MSL, who's done a really good job on this map of finding those initial picks in mid. He's done it once again on this round.
Yeah, his patience has been phenomenal. It's been Config sort of lighting up the server in aggressive plays, and, well, not this time. But it's been MSL just effectively trading, setting his AWP up in a good position each time, and just being patient and waiting for this CT side to aggress. And I think that's been the real change from this map, is just that MSL, when he's given an opportunity, he hasn't missed. It hasn't happened throughout this match. Now, they look to fight into the connector. They already cleared out short control earlier. Refresh is, however, going to be dropped, and they haven't actually spotted Hunden, although, well, I say that, and he starts taking damage. Acor as well will chime in with another, and they've read this perfectly. It's left all onto Tessus, a clutch that, well, I think most players wouldn't be able to get, but a new player put under pressure here, and it isn't going to be happening. A much better hold coming out from Tricked, and as you mentioned, it was mainly based off just how passive they were able to be.
But like I said, that's what we needed to see from them, right? The aggression just hasn't been working out on this map. It's OpTic read it, 2-3 rounds into the game, and have been countering them out on it ever since then. Led to some very one-sided rounds in the favor of OpTic. Trick needed to pull it back, force OpTic to make the first move, and while they did quite efficiently, thankfully Tricked didn't bite on that. Lose 2 to 3 additional players as they've been doing in past rounds. We're still able to keep a respectable amount of their roster alive for the fight on the sites. And as a result of that, did a much better job, and then we're going to see that carry over into this round too. A 2-for-1 trade to start at Nico, though. A beautiful Digo shot to take out Shush. It's a shame it's immediately traded by Hunden, taking down MSL.
Yeah, they've still made things possible, though. And there goes Refresh. He's actually going to take the fight. Another comes in for Nico as well. And this is turned. It was such a dominant start to this round by Tricked, but Nico and Refresh with 2 apiece leave it onto Acor. They're going to smoke off the connector as well. They've played this perfectly. He now has to go running forward. The footsteps may have been heard, especially when he goes jumping forward like he's an elephant just stomping around. And I think that's when he realizes, okay, well, if they are close, they know. And if they aren't, I'm not getting back into this round anyway, so I might as well just save the AWP.
Just single rounds, unfortunately, though, are all that Tricks need to be able to piece together. OpTic finding the immediate trade, with aggression mainly coming in for players on SMGs, actually, pushing right up against Tricked and catching them off guard to allow for OpTic to put themselves right back into control now. They're going to get into double digits, 10-3 over Tricked here. Only 2 rounds left in the half, and we really need to see Trick pick them up. Otherwise, this is going to be another quick map, but the winner will be flipped.
Yeah, I think if I'm making a top 10 list of like Deagle players, I actually would put Nico on there. Like the amount of crazy Deagle plays I've seen from him in the past has been massive. I want to kind of see it more from him because it's something that has sort of slipped away a little bit. And maybe that's just confidence or things going on behind the scenes. Obviously, everybody's rumoring everything about this OpTic roster at the moment and what's going to happen to them. As we've mentioned many times, they are here with a point to prove, as well as Tricked. But yeah, I think he has a ridiculous deagle on him, and we saw it in that round, like just running along, pops the head. Here we go, though. Bubsky, strong position, sprays one, a second almost goes his way, but the trade from Nico's enough. However, the rotation from Hunden he gets him into the site, but instead, he's removed. Luckily, a quick trade in from the CT side gives them hope.
Marcel now going to hold that in the event Borp tries to push through the molly. We won't see that, though. Marcel's got to be a little bit careful about the positioning that he takes. OpTic again, though, with a strong read on the positioning from Trick. They already seem to have an idea that the flank's going to be working its way into the inside of the apartment, so Nico has an easy position to stop that. Borp and 8core won't even do anything. They know they've been found out. They know their flank's been red. That was what they were relying on to get them back into the site, so they've got to give it up. Save what they have for the final round of the half, as OpTic are going to take yet another one.
Yeah, and I think at the moment it seems like 8core's actually had to almost take a leaf out of James' book and just like save the AWP like again and again and again. And it's the thing is, it like as said over the last couple of days, it became a bit of a joke. Like obviously that James was having to save so much, but it's not like we're expecting 8core here to just run in and try and AWP headshot someone. It's just that he needs to now be set up better with that AWP. Like we saw some more aggressive plays into mid from him. Although although the aggression hasn't necessarily been working, neither has some of the holds they've had on the site, and I think that AWP needs to be put in play more.
Well, for Tricked, and 8core specifically, suited with his teammates, some questionable positioning in a lot of these rounds has put him into a bad spot. Refresh. Again, these AKs just absolutely shutting down Trick time and time again. Borup, thankfully, the consistency for him has been kind of unmatched for Trick when it comes to their ability to at least trade and try to keep his team in these rounds. Just hasn't really led to a whole lot. This time, though, it's nearly going to get him 4 kills. Picks up 3, only falls to Refresh after he knocks out half of his HP.
Oh, man in the middle, and Bubsky will deal with that. It's left on to Refresh. 2 kills to his name already. He's definitely got that clutch mindset. We've seen him get a 1v3 with no armor earlier in the tournament. This time he's got slightly better odds, and actually they've retreated into middle. Now the bomb is down. This could be interesting. Like if he goes towards default, he could get quite an easy plant, but I guess the idea here is when you've spotted 8core previously, he has not been around this angle. He's got a Molotov, looking for the peak, would need an instant headshot, and that's the spot. Now that's enough information for at least one of the players. Bubsky also got the kill in middle, so he's probably imagining that both players are there. Even still though, he'll take some damage through the side of the box, but Bubsky runs through and takes a lot of damage from that Molotov. He's in with a decent chance here.
Molly from the CTs goes a little bit too deep, so not going to end up impacting on a Refresh. He's low too, so that would have been really great if they were able to get a better bounce on that. Fresh gonna peek back out, nearly gets the first kill, but does still fall to 8core. Trick, they're gonna come alive one final time at the end of the half. We'll be at 11-4. Still a dominating one for OpTic coming off T side. We'll have to see if they can continue to take it all the way up to 16, or if Trick's got a little bit more fight on their own T side when we come back right after this.
It's all happy smiles from our production team, but well, for the guys at Tricked at the moment, they're probably a little bit more solemn, as you can see on the screen at the moment. It has been a tough first half, as OpTic have been phenomenal. Config's been on point. We've seen MSL step up to the plate as well, and even Nico coming alive towards the end of that one, but straight into our pistol, an aggressive push. MSL overwhelmed within seconds. Refresh trying to save it, but the T's have split this connector fast, and they have the A site under control.
CT's going to try to work their way back in through Murder Hole, but here's Hunden ready and waiting to stop it. As he moves his way back in, Testis takes a good position for the trade. Hunden never should have given it up in the first place. And that's going to mean that they'll be able to work their way back in. Ultimately, though, in a 2v4, this is still going to be a very difficult retake. The only good news for OpTic, they've got a boatload of utility to try to use to get back into this site, including smokes, HEs, and flashbangs. Right now, none of it's really hitting, though. The shots, however, that's a little different. Config moves in, finding Bubsky, A-Core right out for the trade to knock out Testis. It's all on Config now, the 1v3 put against him. He's going to have to walk into a pinch as well. So he's going to be sandwiched in just a moment. Finds the first pickup, but there's the trade from Borup at T-Ramp, and that's going to be Trick starting off with a pistol going into their favor on the T side.
Yeah, important that they get off to a strong start. We sort of spoke about how a lot of their attempts to catch off this CT side failed, and even those one in the last round, which they managed to take away, it was that same sort of repeat peek into the Palace that just didn't work at all. Like, it was like you faced off against Refresh when he knew what you were doing. So I think they definitely need to try and be a little bit more dynamic on this T side, but this round at least, well, you got Config on a Deeg, everyone else just not able to afford anything. Him getting 2 kills paid for that. The question is, can he do anything with it? Can he make things costly? Can he force the T's to get a rebuy? At the moment, it's looking fairly bleak.
Pick there from Bubsky. Finding one more member of OpTic back over by the stairs. It's getting a bit slow from Tricked here as we enter the late round, as I think they're trying to be careful. They definitely don't want to lose any players. Economy was a big issue they had in the first half. And I think they want to try to prevent it from becoming a thing here in the second. Although they can't affect Borup going down now. Config able to find the pick onto him. Shush. Catching Refresh the second he walks back out onto the A site, though. Leaves only Config again, left alive now in the 1v4 situation. Deagle means he's got a good chance of picking at least a few players. In fact, 2 of them. One of the other ones is already incredibly low. Bubsky's down at 2 HP. A-Core at 78 could also still fall to this Deagle. So the round's not over just yet.
Config already making his money back, and he's even going to retrieve himself a UMP. Not ideal, but considering Bubsky's already low, if he can somehow nail this shot onto A-Core, he has a good chance. There's a long rotation coming in. He's going to have the chance of a 1 versus 1 duel if he can just work out where the remaining player is. The problem is he is clueless. A-Core, I think he knows.
Wrong read on this from Config, it seems. He's still thinking they're somewhere around ramp. He's going to work his way back, and he's not even going to check under, actually. He's still completely oblivious to the actual position of A-Core, and that lack of intel will cost him the clutch. Although a very good attempt is made, the round still goes to Tricked. But at a minimum, Config succeeds in doing the economical damage to stop the long-term buildup of these T's money.
This was really nice as well. Like, just these couple of shots. You know he's got it in him still. And the way he's been performing, at least, actually, I was going to say in this map, but in both maps, he was the one person who has been performing across the board. And that's what you need if you're OpTic. So if they're going to turn this round, it's going to be important. Now they get themselves a purchase. Config with a little bit of extra money can also afford some utility, but MSL again is gone within the first few seconds. Refresh with a fantastic trade, looking for a little bit more and gets it as well. He's given them the man advantage. Retake utility's not the best, but they'll have enough to give this a damn good go.
Molly's going to go down to the firebox. It's going to force one of the members of Tricked out, but he reads into that aggressively. He starts to rotate before the Molly even hits to the ground, so he's going to stay safe. Bubsky able to peek out after that, but it's only a 1-for-1. Testis also picks up the next kill. Hunden, he's got such a long run to make here. It's a smart play. They tried to do it in the last round too, but ultimately, I think he's going to be found out now that they've had a chance to check towards T-Ramp. Nico's already right into it. He's got the pre-fire established. Down, Hunden is going to go. Bomb's already halfway to fuse too. A good response from OpTic. It's going to put their 12th round on the board.
Yeah, I actually like the decision there to not smoke off the connector and take the control instead, because the risk with it being smoked off is, because it's the 10-second defusal, that's 10 seconds of Hunden spraying through smoke. And I reckon eventually he's going to find someone. So instead, Nico just takes the aggressive control. He'll have the fight. They have another smoke anyway, just in case they really need to, but the chances are that well, basically Hunden has to go for such a risky play. He can't take the time to properly fight Nico. He has to be trying to kill the person defusing the bomb. So smart decision from OpTic. They take their 12th, 4 away from getting us to that third and final map of Nuke. And so far, it's been in a dominant fashion for them as well. Peek out Tessus. He does get overwhelmed, but they've moved Config over here to help him out, looking for another pick, and he's going to find it as well. A little bit more to do for Config, but at least the rotations come in. Nico is now around the site.
See OpTic trying to work their way back in. Nico going to take a big risk in going out this aggressively this early, but they needed something further from Kitchen, and it's done its work. It stopped the plan. Even better, he nearly gets a double from it. He only goes 1 for 1 now, but look at how low Acor is. Refresh. Going to try to jump back into this. A good nade on Hunden, and now both of the remaining Trick players are absolutely destroyed in the HP game. Down goes Acor. Hunden now alone, and he's only got a CZ to play this off. It was looking good when Trick worked their way onto the B site, but another really great reaction play coming out from OpTic saves them once again in this round and keeps their lead strong.
Yeah, Config and Nico. They've been a deadly duo in this matchup. Now we sort of wait to see what Trick they're going to do in response, and that's the thing. They're starting to run out of rounds to play with. They went for the force buy there. Like, that buy looks like one of those half buys you go for when you have like not enough money to buy, but like enough money that if you saved it, it'd be wasted. That was actually a full buy for them. That was everything they had just invested into a round, and now they come in with nothing. And he's going to be kicking himself. He's like, I could have added my stats there. Could have got something a little bit extra instead. Well, actually a reasonable amount of damage being done. Still 3 players survive, so they make money. That's something at least, but let's be real. The financial position of OpTic is not the biggest worry in the server at the moment. It's the fact that, well, Trick, they're down by 8 rounds.
Yeah, and at 14 for their opponents too. So OpTic is probably feeling pretty good about their chances to take control of this map and send us over to Nuke, which is going to be a fitting end to the series considering we've got 2 Danish teams clashing. But we'll see, of course, if we reach that point. Trick aren't going to give up just yet. They've got potentially this last big buy round coming in. Not able to get a whole lot of Kriegs into the mix, along with, of course, the missing op still from Acor. But at the very minute, they've got utility. They've got the majority of their players on AKs, and that's going to be good enough to put a round together and try to keep them in this matchup.
Oh, nice shot from Bubs. He wants the second and gets it as well. The B site is opened up, and, well, he's going to continue his push, but the T's are going to double back. The fact is, though, this is a play to sort of bait them in. Or I was going to say, if Refresh wins that duel, then it doesn't actually matter so much. Like, they'd have the Palace control. Instead, they're just catching the aggression across the map. This is smart stuff from Tricked. They're just playing patiently. I think most people in that scenario, including myself, just go running to B. Like, just go running straight to B, get that bomb down and fight from there. Instead, they're patient. They know that there's going to have to be some risky rotations coming out from OpTic, and rather than hunting for them after the round is done, they're hunting for them now.
MSL is also left alone here. Not really much that he can do, but going to take up a good position to try to get a few exit frags, or at a minimum save this AWP. His team doesn't have the most money, that's the thing. They're actually pretty much broken after this. Probably go for a little bit of a force buy, and we'll end up with just a couple upgraded guns, but beyond that, there's not really any room for OpTic to continue buy into this. That means that Tricked are going to get a little bit of a boost back. To be fair, it's still a very long road they've got to climb back from. They're only reaching the halfway point with just this round 1. They still need 7 additional rounds just to tie it up at 14-14. Trish will be the first victim to the hunt against MSL, but they want to drop this. They want to prevent any real weapons from being alive in the next round for OpTic, and they've just completed that goal, along with getting a free out themselves, which, if you remember, they didn't actually have the money to buy going into this round.
Yeah, I always find those sort of rounds quite humorous, where if you're watching MSL's POV in that save, he doesn't unscope, and that's the right thing to do, because otherwise someone might hear it, but it just looks ridiculous, like having someone like really like having to swipe their mouse around just to get themselves facing all the different positions and like running around corners in that way. But, well, it doesn't make a difference in the end. Hunden is there to put him down, and that AWP is lost. So this round is going to be next to nothing, but they will, or should have, a decent purchase. I say that Config is quite a bit worse off than everybody else, and although Tessus has the money to maybe drop a gun in the next round for him, go on, do it again. One more.
Oh, you can see that bullet hole right in the wall, too.
Oh, rest in peace, Refresh. That was so mean.
Of course, still gets the pickup on the op, so add a few more stats to that gun. Config, in the meanwhile, trying to play for intel, too, but the smoke is going to deny it on the inside of window. Rest of Tricked ready to move in through connector. Just had to wait a couple seconds for that molly to fade away. And they're going to walk right in. OpTic, of course, had the big stack on B since this was a full save round for them. Took the 50-50 gamble and just didn't win this time.
They're all gathering up on towards short. We might see some aggression onto Acor. He's got to be a bit careful here, but luckily he's got his squad set up with a bit of a firing range on towards these CT players. Testes running around the angle. Config the only one with any sort of upgraded pistol, hoping to maybe make a little bit of extra money just because his position financially is pretty poor. And I wonder if he'll just have to play this round with a bit of a UMP, or somebody will at least. I don't know if you'd want Config taking the hit at the moment. I know that some teams it's more like, okay, well, everyone can perform, so we'll just have whoever has the low money have the SMG. But in this scenario, he has been one of the standout players. So I'd rather see him have a rifle. They're going to go for the, well, sort of more common, I would say, of just giving him an SMG.
OpTic looking to kind of restore the balance, put them back into control, and more importantly, get them up to map point now. Trickter attempting to run the comeback, but it's a long series of rounds they need to run basically in a row if they still have hopes of closing this out in regulation. Config going to be close up against the duel versus Bubsky here in a moment. Nico also the potential for a double, and Bubsky almost catching Config on the inside. You can see quite a bit of damage has been done to the Tricked roster in the first attempt to make this push happen. Boardup actually just walking right into his own death right there. But Trick trade these kills back. So does OpTic though. We go right into a 2v2 after a bit of a chaotic spree between both teams on the A site. Trick, you got to be a little bit careful. The bomb's still on the ground, but I think they're sending Bubsky back to pick that up now.
Yeah, he's going back. This is so high risk. I think if you leave that site, you have to leave it together. Like, I do get the idea of leaving somebody around. Like, maybe you can catch someone off, but just giving the CT side a 2 versus 1, I'm pretty sure they've spotted both players around this site as well. Bubsky's going to run as fast as little legs can carry him in towards the B site and should be able to get a plant, but the second this goes down, the CTs will know.
Config already seemed to know, but he doubled back and threw that flashbang at mid for some reason. However, the problem for Bubsky, he's going to walk right into that op. Bye-bye to any chance of the clutch. OpTic go up to 15. Map point for them to potentially tie us up at 1-1.
Yeah, he had no idea he was there. Absolutely none. Either that or he had completely lost his mind, thinking he could just like running, jumping. Well, he didn't even shoot, so like fly kick him in the head or something. But yeah, that is going to be map point now in the favor of OpTic. They are set and ready to move us onto nuke. I don't know how many nuclear power plants there are in Denmark, but they all seem to be very comfortable hanging around the power plants themselves.
So more than likely we're going to end up jumping onto that. Unless we see a miracle here of the next 7 rounds from Tricked. So they now need to run them all in a row outright. Otherwise, this is indeed going to a 3rd map to decide our first grand finalist here at the DreamHack Open Summer. Acor tries to make a play in mid by peeking against MSL, but he's well ready for that. Shuts him down, and OpTic get the early man advantage in the round.
Bubsky looking to try and play onto Refresh. He'll take him down. His old teammate, the Fragster's friend, gone. Showing in the, no, I've still got it. Can't underestimate me here. Looking to try and still do damage around that area, and actually the split looking like it's coming in. It's only MSL at the back of the side with the AWP, and Nico is removed. Bubsky having a big round for his team, and one that's needed to try and save them in this map. MSL hoping to hold on, and he does. Finds the first pick with the AWP and allows some time for the rotations, but they still have to be careful as there's a lot of connector control, and another comes in for Shush. It's left on to Testes. Their money's so bad that you wonder if going for this is worth it. Well, after not finding that kill quick enough, he'll probably fall into a save.
Tricked will hold on, if only for a little bit here now. As Testes has to fall back, get himself out of harm's way, and in a position where he can hopefully keep this AUG alive. Still doing good damage though, and that's something that Tricked really can't afford to take. They need to build up a good economy. They need to constantly keep their rebuys possible in the event that this happens. And telling this early on when they had 3 still standing, it's not going to play too well into their favor. No one else is really going to be able to get close enough to challenge Testes though. That does not look like we'll see anyone attempt to jump down into underpass. Warp has fallen back inside of Dark. And the only other players way back towards spawn. So that's the start for the folks on Tricked. They still need a whole lot more. And after the last round being picked up by OpTic, there's no further room for mistakes to be made here.
Yeah, this is a tough fight back, but we've seen, well, pretty much the exact same thing done by Ancient. It's possible, for sure. And I think the tricked mentality is we have nothing to lose. But already Hunden is going to catch Config, slightly over-audacious peak. This round's actually a bit of a weird one. I wonder if we're going to have an attempted double AWP setup, because a lot saved in terms of finances for MSL and Testes, but then everybody else is almost fully invested.
You'd think they would have to go for it now, but we'll see how the picture paints itself once we get onto round 26 in a second here. Things are going to be relatively slow rolling, or rather around 27. That's right at the top there. These are still going to be rather slow rolling here for Tricked, and that's where OpTic could have a possibility to upset a little bit here. You can see that flank building up with MSL going for the back mid push. He might have a flank catch him, though, if Borup passes up at the right timing, but no, he actually doesn't commit to falling back outside to mid. MSL is going to divert, and actually has got a good chance to catch him now, killing the apartments push, and they kind of need that apartments push for control over the site. Hunden, though, is actually going to open things up on A instead. He finds Refresh, and they change the game plan on a dime here. It's going to go down, and OpTic, now going to look like they're in a bad position, but MSL puts at least one more frag up on the board here against Acor. Drops the op in the process.
Borup coming in from behind. MSL seems aware. He's got the read bang on, but he's looking a little bit further back. Doesn't know how close Borup actually is. The rest of the team in the meantime go pushing into the site, and this flank is still coming. Hunden stuck in the corner, but he knows he has the cavalry arriving sooner rather than later. Still, Testes will be able to take him down. MSL gets another, and now it's left onto Borup. The defusal beginning. The question is, do they even have enough time? The spray down of both for Borup. A quick transition, and they keep kicking. Tricked, almost eliminated, or at least not eliminated, eliminated from this map by what was just pistols and one gun.
However, this is just OpTic, like you mentioned, on pretty much an eco right there. The exception of Refresh, and I think one other player having a full investment, and they're actually going to save again here. I mean, they've got the luxury of a few rounds, but 2 in a row, especially how close they were, starts to make you question it. Either way, like you said, it was a bit of a strange buy in the last round because Refresh had fully invested, so I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication or they were saving up for something, but either way, it leads to 2 saves in a row, ultimately.
It does make me wonder if we're going to see a double AWP, because otherwise I don't get why there's so much money. Okay. They're still doing so much damage in these eco rounds, though.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the buy seems to be for OpTic, they're able to catch some of these players off guard. That's an important entry, though. Testes, again, is the lone defender of this B site, and that will mean there'll be a comfortable plant here. Even so, the remaining players on this side have nothing to lose. Unless they're worried about the extra money that's going to go into the hands of Tricked, which I don't know why they would be, because they know that Tricked are going to be buying every single round anyway, and you can't force them on an eco, because that means they've lost. So, ultimately, they've got to be careful, and already another dink, Hunden down to 13 HP.
You can still kind of mess up their buys, though, in the long term, if you like, constantly kill 3 to 4 of them. You're not really going to let their money grow at all, so there's a possibility they aren't able to invest fully into utility or have to downgrade to an AK from a Krieg or just not have an op in the lineup. So, I mean, once again, they're doing it. They're doing a pretty fantastic job of chip damage here. Refresh is ultimately going to be the only one left alive, but he's also the only one that had a real gun. So with another player dying to the explosion, great damage overall for OpTic. They're certainly doing a good job of trying their best to limit the buys.
Yeah, very effective with just USP, so can't really say anything bad about that.
Which has got to make Tricked probably a little scared going into this round now, because this is when, hopefully, OpTic are going to fully reinvest. And there it is. We'll only get a single op, so we don't end up with that double op setup that you were talking about a few rounds back. But we do see the full reinvestment because they had to wait 2 rounds due to what I can only assume now was either a misbuy from Refresh or just a miscommunication. Means that they're going to be sitting pretty nice on the utility side of things, too.
Oh, there's the aggression from MSL as well. Him and Config having a good game here. 26 kills to his name. Actually going to take top mid control. Now, this is only a worry if there's nobody watching in towards underpass, but I imagine that's where MSL has actually gone to watch instead. So not really that much risk. And yeah, there you go. There he is. He's just waiting patiently. So a nice little setup being thrown in. Once again, we're going to see probing onto this B site. It has again been, I wouldn't say much of a weakness, but a bit of one. Like, I think it's the weaker of the two. But with the rotations that we've seen actually from Config a lot of the time, and actually like Nico as well running through sites when it comes to it, they've managed to make this CT side strong. But this is it. this is the execution that could decide the game. Refresh at the back of the site as the push comes through.
He's going to allow at least one player from Trick through into Firebox. Rest of OpTic trying to play this passively, actually not really putting up too much of an effort to stop Trick from taking control. They're going to play retake. They've got the utility to do so. 2 mollies in a smoke. It's a good read from Config too, catching Borup, working his way back out of those B tunnels. Borup have had a big effect on this, and now he's only furthered the agenda of OpTic by going down. Refresh just easily picks off Bubsky. This is not looking good for Tricked at all.
And Shush needs to go insane, and now Hunden, he has to get all 5 kills, and let's be honest, we didn't see that coming. It is going to be a 16-11 turnaround. Nuke will be our decider. The Danes ending on what is probably the most Danish map of all.